Okay, we're gonna wait for our apoapsis, a little past our apoapsis, and then we're gonna slow ourselves down in order to okay, this will be just fine. Okay, and now we're gonna set up our re-entry. We want an periapsis of 35 to 32 kilometers above the point where we want to land. That will make the atmosphere slow us down enough to hit more or less the point we're aiming for. Okay. Yeah, a bit of a non-standard setup here with the SAS and advanced SAS below the fuel tank and engine. Okay, let's slow that burn down a bit. Throttle down, throttle down. Actually, we're gonna leave it slightly above. We'll set it up. We'll try out something new. We're gonna leave the periapsis at 40,000 meters and change, and we're gonna adjust it when we get closer by burning upwards or downwards instead of pro or retrograde, I think it's called. I should really look that stuff up actually. Okay. Yeah, see, the planet rotates. It's a good thing we left ourselves a bit of extra height there, which will make it easier to adjust. Okay, so now we're close enough that we don't really have to look at the map. We can just eyeball it. And we're in the atmosphere now. Okay. Yeah, these two put together are about half as strong as one of those tiny engines from the stock parts. And they burn fuel at the same rate, of course. They're essentially made for stabilizing your rockets. They're vectoring engines, and they have a much bigger vectoring range than anything else, but they're also pretty weak. Okay. Let's burn downwards a bit. That will push our periapsis down, as you can see here, which should bring us down right about there. It's all about speed and vectors combining. See, if you're heading down at an angle, you can see that vector as a combination of a downwards and sideways vector, the sum of those two. So, if you add a bit more downward speed, you'll fall a bit faster and a bit further. Yeah, well, I don't know if you understood that, but that's more or less how it works. Physics can be really cool, actually. Okay, and we're heading in just fine, and this final stage still has plenty of fuel, which means that we could have pushed the satellite into a higher orbit if we really needed to. So, let's detach this, and it's time to open our parachute. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do this with the other craft I've prepared to show you. I mean, do it like this for the other craft I've prepared. I'm gonna show you how it flies first, and then I'm gonna take it apart and show you how it's constructed. So this is gonna be a successful mission, and we're gonna go to the assembly building. Okay, so here first of all we have the shroud, which covers the final stage. We have the advanced and ordinary SAS, like I usually add. The satellite on top of the Mark III parachute, which allows you to stack things on top of it. And these stabilization pods, which of course apply a certain amount of thrust, and of course they have to be radially attached with symmetry. Okay, and of course the couplers. Okay, then here we have the main engine, which is kind of like the vectoring engine from the stock parts, but it's lighter and has a slightly greater vectoring range. The aerodynamic caps here, yeah, these are all K2X vectoring engines here. Here we have a 1.75 meter half sized fuel tank, a bulkhead for attaching the shrouds, and well, anyway, we have 4 boosters here on the side, which are attached with the couplers, and they feed into this central tank so that they also feed this engine, leaving this fuel tank untouched until these 4 run out. Okay, and here we have 4 of the radial solid boosters, which burn for 20 seconds and apply 50 units of thrust turned around with A or D so that they burn backward. And that's more or less this ship. Okay, now let's load something different. I've made 2 new moonlanders, which are both cool looking. I think they're pretty sweet, although they're somewhat different. I think we're gonna start with this one. Okay, now we wait for it to load. Okay, so let's launch. Yeah, it might be a bit laggy until we get a ways off the ground, but it should be okay. Yeah, the lag's resolved itself and everything's fine now. Okay, so we're gonna take a short trip to the moon. Actually, I'm gonna speed up time here so that it doesn't take quite as long. Okay, now these are for getting us up into space, and these are for traveling to the moon, and this last stage with the vectoring engine here is of course for landing. This has the 2 meter SAS module instead of the usual 1 meter one, and this top part holds the command pod and the advanced SAS unit, I think. Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah, the advanced SAS, parachute and command module. Okay, now this first stage will take us quite a ways up, and we might need this stage for finishing up our orbit, but that's about it. Okay, although that might be a problem. I don't see any fuel lines there. There should be fuel lines there, though Oh yeah, this engine does